Hello, Marc Angel.
Hi, Kelly.
Nice to see you. Thank you for sitting down with the Schuman Show.
It's a pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Did you always dream of becoming a politician?
I was an activist in the 80s. That was the time of AIDS, HIV/AIDS. Nothing really happened in politics, so I became an activist. I was a founder of an NGO in Luxembourg called Stop AIDS Now. Then, I ran for local elections in Luxembourg. The Socialist Party, Social Democrat Party asked me to run. I was elected, and then once you're in it, you're like kind of sucked in, and I never got out of it anymore.
How many years ago was this?
This was in 1993. I was elected first.
Oh, wow.
But then I still had a job. I was a teacher. And then in 2004, I got elected in the National Parliament in Luxembourg. And that's also where I got the European virus, because I was always in the European Affairs Committee, and I loved coming to the interparliamentary meetings in Brussels. And I remember every time I passed by these letterboxes you see down, these pigeonholes as we call them, I said, I want my name on one. And it took until 2019, and here I am.
So don't stop believing.
Yes, and fighting.
And fighting. So you're a member of the Socialist Party, and you're from Luxembourg. Sounds a bit like an oxymoron to me.
Well, Social Democrats have been in government for many years in Luxembourg, and they've been quite successful. Also, as ministers of economy, we always make sure that money is well distributed, and this is why the people are well doing in Luxembourg.
Well, how many Socialist MEPs are there then?
It's only one. I'm the only one, but we only have 6 MEPs,
Okay.
So
how many MEPs per capita do you have?
Well, in the treaties, the lowest number is 6 for Cyprus, Malta, and Luxembourg. So we're a bit overrepresented, but this is important for diversity and political alternatives.
Since you're a smaller member state,
Yes.
small but mighty, I do have to ask, do you make friends with the bigger member states, or is there like a pecking order, like in high school?
I don't want to be somebody in a corner alone, so I mingle very easily. I also speak 5 languages. By the way, I love the Spanish and the Portuguese and the Italians too. And of course, you have to get out of your political bubble. And I have many friends in other political groups, democratic groups. There were those, yes.
Specifically, okay. So no non-attached members or extreme
A few
right?
non-attached members, but the ones who I see how they vote and how they speak, and
Okay, so you don't discriminate.
No.
Let's talk a little bit about the fact that a lot of people in the European Union accuse Luxembourg of being a little bit of a tax haven. And you're a socialist, so how do you feel about that?
You're absolutely right. Luxembourg had a very bad reputation, and we had practices which were not really what you call, say, European solidarity. But a lot has changed since 2013. Luxembourg made efforts to get out of all the black and gray lists. So there is an effort there, and there's a consciousness there.
How long does it take to see Luxembourg? Like an afternoon, a lunchtime?
Well, it depends on how deep you want to go into Luxembourg. We have underground, the fortifications, and we have a lot of things to visit. We have museums. We have a lot of nature, so it depends. In Luxembourg, the name stands for a country and it stands for the capital, so it depends.
And the province of Belgium.
Yes, of course.
West Luxembourg.
Yes.
Which, if I saw on the map correctly, is a little bit bigger than
Yes,
your
a little
Luxembourg.
bit bigger than Luxembourg, yes.
So how does that make you feel?
That's no problem. They are part of Europe, so...
But if you annexed them, you could have double your territory.
Yeah, but I see the European borders. They are more important than national borders.
Oh yeah, it's almost like you've annexed it already, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
You are in the European Parliament what we call a Quaestor.
Yes.
Most people in Europe have never heard that word.
No.
So can you tell us what on earth is a Quaestor? Do you guys go on quests?
Well, first of all, everybody thinks it's something linked to the Roman, in the Roman Empire,
Yes.
there was quaestors, and has absolutely nothing to do. And it has also absolutely nothing to do with finances.
Really? Because
So,
we are kind of living through the last days of Rome, so I do think it's a little appropriate to have a Roman word.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, we are not dressed like the ones you see running around in Rome.
Damn it.
We're just a group of 5 people who are not appointed, but they are elected. Elected by the plenary, and we are part of the Bureau of the European Parliament, so we participate in all the activities of the Bureau. The Bureau has different working groups, and each of the quaestors are in one of these working groups, and then we have different portfolios and missions.
Does being a Quaestor give you street cred in the European Parliament?
It gives you a lot of more work than a normal MEP, first of all. But you see, I have a little privilege. The only privilege is a bigger office, a table with a meeting space, because you have a lot of meetings. You have to receive a lot of people. So, but it's also interesting because you dig really deep into the parliament. You see how this administration works, and
You want to see how the administration works?
they work very hard, as contrary as often is said outside, and that's very interesting. And everything is well organized. It's you see in that, but you also you're a bit like a trade union for the MEPs also. And on the other hand, you're in contact with the administration, and you get submissions from the bureau. For example, we have to find new rules of filming and making pictures in the parliament, because then the Quaestors have to come up, and then later it goes to the bureau. So we work with the legal service. We work with different director generals and their teams. So it's interesting.
So instead of slaying dragons, you slay bureaucracy in favor of MEPs.
Yes.
Okay. Speaking of accredited parliamentary assistants, or APAs as they're known here, I want to ask you about some of their duties. Have they ever cooked for you?
No, I cook for them.
Okay, servant leadership. Have they ever picked you up from a party?
Yes.
Do I want to know more?
No, not picked up, but they said, you better go home now.
Do they babysit your kids? Do you even have kids?
I don't have kids,
Okay.
no. I have a cat, but that's in Luxembourg.
Do they do your laundry?
Why? We share do sometimes the dishes with them here, the coffee cups. So no, why should they do my laundry?
So what are their main activities?
Well, they are working on the files. They're working on the amendments. They're writing speeches together with me. They're advising me, and they're work colleagues and an important part of my life. I couldn't do this work without them.
How tech savvy is the average MEP? Do they know how to use Excel?
I don't know it. I don't know.
You don't know Excel?
I don't know Excel very much, no.
Oh.
But my team, they know it very well.
Do MEPs use AI, or do they just like to regulate it?
Some do, and I work on it now because I'm in employment committee. I'm a shadow rapporteur on a report on AI and algorithmic management at work. So I'm digging into it, and sometimes I use it to see what the answer would be. But we still write our speeches ourselves.
Do you think we could replace MEPs with AI?
Never.
What about Quaestors?
Not, also not.
But couldn't we get rid of the toxic, annoying colleagues by just having AI replace them?
No, we need also annoying colleagues to have a democracy and a discussion, unfortunately.
I think that's overrated. I have a very important question for you now, Marc. Will we ever have a 4-day work week in Europe?
I can imagine that with AI making things much easier. I wouldn't mind to have a reduction on workload, but not cutting the salaries, of course.
No.
It has been successful in certain sectors, and
what about a 3-day work week? Would that be maybe a 2-day? You know, it's Monday. Can we just call it quits after this interview?
Just work Monday and the rest of the week.
Yeah, and the rest of the time you tell the AI what to do.
Yeah, no, that would be easy, but there's many jobs, first of all, where AI can never replace the humans, and that's not a society we want. And it's also, I love my job, and I hope that most people love their work, because that's what I'm fighting for quality jobs where people have a good salary and where they like to go and meet their colleagues, and that's part of my engagement also as a member of the Employment and Social Affairs Committee.
But we can agree on 4 days at least, right?
4 days, I could live with it, yes.
Fantastic. You're a member of the LGBTQI plus intergroup as well, right?
Yes, and I love that work there too, and it's important nowadays.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little more about what's going on?
Well, we're constantly being attacked. There is a gender ideology, but there is no gender ideology. There is just a human rights agenda. Women's rights, LGBTI rights are human rights, and that's it. It's anti-discrimination. But the far right and others, they love to divide society and play on that. So, and that's why we have to kick back.
Would you say that the colleagues in the European Parliament are quite supportive of this work, or is it a mixed bag?
We've been in the last legislature the biggest intergroup. we are working towards becoming it again. We are quite successful already, but there is the homophobes and the transphobes. They're being very vocal nowadays, so we really have to be very strong. But we are.
If you had a magic wand, a political magic wand, what would be the number one issue that you would want to fix?
Housing. Housing. First of all, we have 900,000 homeless people. They are the most vulnerable. And then affordable housing. Young people cannot rent or buy a house anymore.
Oh, in Luxembourg, for sure.
Yes, and I think the housing issue is the most pressing issue, and the biggest chunk of your salary goes for housing. Then you cannot have a proper life, and therefore housing is something we have to find a solution on the local level, national level, but also now on the European level, work together.
Do you think it's a priority for this parliament?
It is a priority for my political group. That's why we called for a housing commissioner, and we have a committee now on housing, and they have to succeed.
Let's talk about the Green Deal as well. How many people mix you up with its architect, Frans Timmermans?
Oh my God. Yeah, when I see Frans, I say I want a selfie with my twin. Yeah.
What do you think of the Green Deal being rolled back, though, to be...
Yeah, it's a shame. It's really a shame, and it's a mistake. It's the biggest mistake we're doing.
And do you think that there's a way to reverse the rollback, to roll back the rollback?
I think we have to fight to limit this rollback and get the young people out on the streets again. It was the Friday for Future. It was that generation who pushed us to do that, and science is on our side. So we have to get back to a positive narrative of the Green Deal. The Green Deal was basically the growth strategy, and it's something like it was like in America, the Inflation Reduction Act, a lot of parallels. So and it's this green bashing which made it unpopular, but it has a lot of opportunities, and we should have called it the industrial deal. Because it's kind of an industrial deal. It's bringing our industry, putting the green industry first, and
so it's a branding problem, basically.
I think it was a bit. Well, part of it was a branding problem, and then the narrative was destroyed, and we forgot to really defend the positive narrative. Yes, there will be changes, but there will be so many opportunities for new jobs and new ways of making business, and this was a bit forgotten, and we forgot to speak to the workers and take their fears away, and this is something we have to do in this mandate.
Okay, well, Marc, we're almost at the end of our interview,
Yes.
but before we say goodbye, I'd like to do a little lightning round with you, if that's okay.
Yes.
So this means, top of mind in a very succinct way.
Yeah.
Just answer the following questions. What's the European way of life?
Social security and welfare.
What's your favorite movie?
Jackie Brown by Tarantino.
Favorite European city? You can't say Luxembourg.
Madrid, yo soy madrileño aquí dentro.
Favorite dish?
Favorite dish? Oh, that's a Luxembourgish dish, and it's in Luxembourgish ham fritten en salade. It's just Ardennes ham, cooked and raw, with French fries and salad. It's very basic, very easy, and very tasty.
The Luxembourg Ardennes, I guess.
That's the Luxembourger in me.
If you could have dinner with any figure, VIP, historical figure, living or dead, really, who would it be?
Maybe Willy Brandt. Or François Mitterrand, or
What is a skill you wish they taught all MEPs at school?
to be more European and less national,
What is your go-to karaoke song?
La Vie en Rose from Grace Jones.
If you weren't in politics, what would you dream of doing for a living?
When I was a teacher, and I was very happy as a teacher, and when I was a kid, I always wanted to become a hotel manager of a big hotel.
What is your favorite application on your phone?
My favorite application on my phone is Instagram. I hang too much on Insta, unfortunately.
We all do.
When I relax, I'm a bit addicted. And then Google, of course. I Google a lot.
More than you use AI? More than ChatGPT?
Yeah, I Google. I'm there. I Google a lot. Often the words, the translations. I use Google quite a lot.
And what was your own initiative on?
AI.
Interesting. And finally, what is your favorite live satirical show about the EU?
Of course, the Schuman show.
Marc Angel, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you. Thank you.